Hey guys, you're very welcome to today's lower body mobility session. I want you to start by pulling your left knee towards your chest, using your hands to support your leg at all times. For now, just get yourself nice and comfortable lying flat on your back and find any tight areas or restrictions within the left side of your hip. I want you to use your hands to move your hips towards the left and towards the right nice and slowly. You're going to continue to do this for a small period of time. Again, loosening out any restrictions that you may have within your hip. It's really important at this stage to note that you should keep your back flat on the floor at all times, and the opposite leg should stay nice and flat as well. The next move you're going to do will involve rotating your leg to the left and to the right. And by doing this, you are internally and externally rotating your hip. Now, this movement is one that is quite limited in most people, especially sports players. So it's really important to go at your own pace on this one and push yourself to your own limits. Ideally, you would have a 45-degree angle with your shin in each position, but don't worry if you're not there yet. When you're finished, you can swap sides and continue to follow the same routine where you focus on bringing your knee to your chest initially, finding any tight areas that you need to work on. Rotate the leg left and right using your hands to start, but then also using your feet. And again, you can start working through your rotation of your hips with that leg by squaring off the shin and imagining that there's a 90-degree angle at your knee joint. And again, you go left and right and move side to side. Now, it's completely normal for one side to feel a little bit more restricted than the other, and that is part and parcel of being a human being. We all have one dominant side and one less dominant side, and it's the same thing when it comes to mobility. We all have one joint that is a little bit tighter or restricted than the other joint. So that's where the individual side of it comes in, and you just need to move through it at your own pace and at your own will. When you're finished, I want you to bring your knees towards your chest and just hug your knees initially, grabbing the bony part of your shin, your tibial tuberosity, with your hands. You can interlock the fingers if you want, or whatever's easier for you, that's fine. But keep your back nice and flat on the floor, shoulders back on the floor too, and just start rocking your body left to right, side to side, ever so slightly, nice and slowly. When you do that, it's just going to help improve hip flexion, and in your head you should always try and imagine that we are trying to mirror the bottom of a squat position. So think of when you're sitting down, your back's nice and flat, your hips are flexed perfectly towards 120 degrees, and your feet are flat on the floor. So that should always be in your mind at this particular moment when we talk about replicating movement. So again, just hang out here for a little while. You'll know when it's right to move on. When you're finished, I want you to slowly start to come out of the stretch. Release the tension from your hands, and ever so slightly start to bring your feet down towards the floor. You're going to cross your left leg over your right, keeping your right leg flat on the ground, and I want you to bring your hands between the gap of your legs and hold on to your right hamstring. From there, you're going to lie flat on your back, relaxing your shoulders, your mid-back and your lower back and your head all the way down. By pulling your right hamstring towards your shoulder, you're going to get a stretch into the left hip. To deepen the stretch, you can pull the leg slightly down towards your hip, but you can also shift your body towards the right. And what I mean by that is not crazy amounts, but roll slightly onto your right hand side, because it's just going to expose some of the deeper tissues inside of your left outer hip. Again, you find the areas that you need to work on, and you stay there for anywhere between 90 seconds to 2 minutes. You're going to hold here for another little while and really try and open up the hips as best as you can. So imagine you're here for 2 minutes. For the first minute, I want you to hold this stretch. If you can straighten out your right leg to get a deeper stretch into the hamstring as well as the outer hip. But for now, where you are at this moment in time is absolutely perfect. Because what I'm going to get you to do then is twist your lower part of your body towards the right and get your foot flat on the floor. Your left arm should be splayed out to the side with your shoulder resting comfortably on the mat. With your right hand, I want you to put it on the outside of the left hip and slowly and comfortably pull the right hip towards, and the left hip towards your right shoulder. Again, this is just going to deepen the stretch that you're feeling in the outer hip, and I want you to hold here for the second part of the 2 minutes. So take your time, breathe through it. Remember, as you breathe in through your nose, I want you to start to build up the tension in your hip. Imagine that all of the muscles around the area that you're trying to loosen out are filled with oxygen. And when you breathe out, this is where tension releases, and you can slowly start to feel all of the tension release from the muscle into the tendon, into the bone, and into the actual joint itself. When you finish your 2 minutes, I want you to swap over to the other side, bring your legs back to normal and neutral even to start off with. You're going to swap the right leg over the left, and you're going to put your hands through the gap on your legs again and hold the left hamstring. And the same principles apply here. So for the first minute, I want you to hold on to your hamstring and just focus on releasing the tension. Again, focus on your breath. And then as you move through, the second minute is going to be when you start to bring a little bit more movement into the stretch, and you'll feel a deeper release, this time into the outer right hip, as that's the one that we're working. you finish that stretch, I want you to slowly bring your hips back to normal and grab the band that you're going to be using for this routine. Now, if you don't have a band, you can also use the rope attached to a dressing gown or just something that you can wrap around your feet and you can hold on to help with this stretch. So I want you lying on your back with the band around your left leg to start off with. Wrap it just under the knuckle part of your toes, and you're going to lie flat on your back with your head on the ground. It's really important here for your leg to be fully extended. Slight bend is okay, but ideally we'd want the leg to be fully extended, as I said. And I just want you to get nice and comfortable and relax into that position. You can pull tension on the band if you want, or you can clasp your hands higher up the band just to help stretch that hamstring. Now, this stretch is going to be broken up into 3 parts. The first part is in this position where you just get nice and comfortable. Again, as we use our breathing, we're going to breathe out and release all of the tension into the back of the hamstrings, the glute and the lower back. And just move through it, slightly rocking left to right to help open up the hamstring that little bit more. When, let's say, 30 seconds is up, maybe a bit longer, remember it's individualized, so you'll know when the time is right to move on to the next stage. I want you to grab the band with your left hand only. From there, you're going to open up your hip and swing the leg over to the left side. It's really important that you keep your right hip and your right shoulder on the floor at all times, because by doing this, it's going to help expose the adductors, or the groins as they're commonly known as, and it's just going to help stretch them out a little bit. Now, what you need to do here is you need to find the area that you need to work on the most. So if that's too easy for you, a very simple and easy thing to do is pull the leg slightly higher. So put tension on the band and pull the leg slightly higher up towards your head, or if it's too hard, you can ease out of it and just relax the tension on the band and slowly bring your leg down towards your feet. So the trick there is just to get nice and comfortable and find the right time for you. From there, you're going to bring the leg back to normal and swap hands. The left leg is going to go across your body, and the left shoulder is going to stay on the floor this time. It's really important again that you keep your leg dead straight, and you slowly start to bring your foot as close as you possibly can towards the floor. The rotation through your hips and your lower back is going to cause a big stretch into the hamstring, into the glute, and into the lower back. You can further deepen the stretch if you put more tension on the band and you point the toes towards your head. Right now we're really stressing the sciatic nerve. So if you have experience with sciatica or any sciatic symptoms in the past, this will be a really nice stretch to help relieve some of the tension on the hamstring. But you need to remember to go at your own pace, because if you go too quickly, you won't like this stretch, your body won't like it, and it will result in pain. So when you finish, you're going to come back to the middle with your legs. You can take a drink of water if you want. You can pause the video and stretch out even further if you want from there. But let's swap over to the right side. Put the band around the right toe this time, and we're going to repeat the same 3-step process. So you're going to keep the leg in the middle to start off with. You're going to swing the leg out to the right, and then you're going to bring it across your body and get a deeper stretch into the hamstring. I'm going to let you stretch and go through this movement yourself, and I'll talk to you again when we start the next sequence. by now your hamstrings should be completely stretched out in all three directions on both sides. So you can put the band to the side, and then I want you to get into a tabletop position. Hands underneath the shoulders, legs nice and comfortable to start off with, but we're not going to hang here for too long because I want you to bring your left leg forward and get into a lunge position. The trick here is to keep your right leg as straight as possible and in line with your right shoulder. And do your best to keep your back straight. That means if you need to have a pillow, you can place your hands on the pillow or so forth to help elevate you slightly. But I want you to lean into the stretch, so really push into your hands. From there, you're going to use your left hand. Slowly try and bring your elbow towards the floor, and then all the way up, you're reaching towards the air, rotating through the mid-back. Now, another tip you can do is you can drive your left knee out to the side, so you're adding external rotation into that hip of yours. So slowly bring the hand down and all the way up, and repeat the process for 10 times. Okay, nice and slow. Remember to always keep tension on that right leg as well, so you're squeezing the right glute and you're pushing the right hip towards the floor. It may seem impossible at first to get your elbow to the ground, but trust me, as you move on, it will get easier. When you're finished 10 of these, I want you to swap over and do 10 on the other side. When you're finished the 10 on the other side, well then that concludes the stretching sequence for today. So I'll leave you with the last 10 reps, and I will talk to you at the start of our next session.